This podcast, Life Success Pod with Matt and Nat, was created with the intention to help you create holistic success in every important area of your life. I'm your co-host, Nat, and I'm truly excited to be co-hosting this podcast with my amazing husband, Matt. And we're both truly excited to support you on your journey to more happiness, fulfillment, vibrant health, richer relationships, and abundance and success in the most important areas to you. We're going to be raw, authentic, so join us for this journey as we share what's worked, what hasn't worked, and give you practical tools that you can apply right away to create an extraordinary life that you love. So get ready, buckle up, and enjoy the journey. Oh, and if you feel like being a great friend, pass this on to someone else that you think this may benefit. We're coming to you with over 2 decades of experience in the health, mindset, and personal development industry. Both personally trained and mentored by the legendary Bob Proctor, we're bringing to you practical tools that you can apply every single day to improve the quality of your life. Hello and welcome to another episode in Life Success Pod. This is Nat and I am joined by my husband and co-host Matt. Welcome to today's podcast.
Thanks, Nat. It's great to be here.
I love it. Now, I'm actually going to take us straight to what happened on the weekend because for our listeners who don't know, Matt and I hosted our first ever retreat this recent weekend. And it was amazing. Like it was seriously transformative in the beautiful Mornington Peninsula Hot Springs here in Victoria. And it was, one could say, like I could say it's a dream come true, really hosting a retreat. So I am celebrating our success at this point and celebrating this achievement, which hasn't always been easy for me to acknowledge success and progress. So I'm going to extend that out to you, Matt. Well done this weekend. We crushed it. We really did well.
Well done. It was quite the day.
It was. It was a beautiful day of wellness, transformation, a lot of healing, a lot of manifestation as well, which is the topic of today, manifestation. Matt, do you remember when you first even became aware of what manifestation meant? Can you recall?
Well, I think from memory, there may have been times beforehand, but I think now that you've put me on the spot, I think I really started to wake up to it more when I came across the hit movie The Secret and sitting there watching that. I was like, wow, like you can consciously and deliberately create something that you want. And that's as far back as my memory goes in terms of manifestation. And I guess having this understanding rather than just like a feeling, because I think you can always feel like if I look back even as a child, I felt like I could have some form of control over outcomes. But sometimes you just think that's just inside your head, right? But when I watched The Secret, it was like, wow, like, yeah, I am powerful. Like it's possible that I am really powerful. And so, yeah, it would be The Secret.
The Secret. Yeah, that was my time as well. Like I had this idea. I remember sitting in football fields and I would visualize, like I would imagine my team scoring a goal and, so there was some innate awareness of the power of our mind that if I used my imagination to see something that I wanted and felt it, then it could happen. And I think some people are just a little more in tune than others. And, that's cool. Like this is the beautiful thing about all of us. We're so different. But same thing, manifestation really got blown out of the water when I watched the movie The Secret. And it was in 2014 because the movie came out in 2006. And I remember watching that movie and I was like, whoa, you mean I can manifest more money? It's like, whoa, and people are talking about manifesting car spots and manifesting, a coffee and manifesting a partner. And what it made me realize was how I had applied this unconsciously to manifest things that I wanted, but I've also applied it to manifest things I didn't want. And when I became more intentional, more deliberate, what I would call now a conscious creator, then that's where things started to change in areas that I thought I couldn't, you know? So, like, I'll give you an example of when I was already doing it. I remember being 17, 18, and being in my bedroom and fantasizing being in a relationship with someone who loved me, adored me, would hold hands on the beach, and we did everything together, like my best friend. And I look and I stand here today and I'm like, what? Like, that's my reality. Like, I've married my best friend. We do work we love. In fact, we both weren't even in personal development when we met each other, but that image just kept unfolding and manifesting. And so for years, I would do that, and imagine and just let my mind go there because it felt so much better than some other things that were in my environment at the time. So it's a little bit of an escapism at the same time, going to my la la land. But it worked for me. And of course, with having children and visualizing them born without any drugs or anything, I was manifested that. And what was really cool about the movie The Secret was Bob Proctor was on The Secret, right? And that was the first time I'd ever seen him. It was the first time you saw him, right?
I think I'd seen him, but not really paid much attention. But that was the
Okay.
first time he got my attention.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Bob was one of the kind of main characters, I guess, on that film. And just talking about the power of our potential and vibration, talking about how the law of attraction is actually a secondary law to the law of vibration. And he taught us that everything vibrates, literally. A pen is vibrating, this microphone is vibrating, everything is vibrating, our body is vibrating. So when we're in even a low vibration, that means we've got low vibrational thoughts that are happening. So our body goes into a lower vibrational state. But as we change the images we're holding, we alter our vibration. And everything we desire is in one form or another. So it may not yet be in the physical. That money in the bank account may not yet be physical in there. That partner of your dreams may not be there by your side in your bed yet. Or that beautiful home that you want is not yet in your physical reality. Whatever that is. The thing is, we all have desires, and I think we've got to really honor them and trust them. That's the
Mm.
first step, to let
Mm.
ourselves want them. But Bob really taught us that if we could see it in our mind, if we could imagine it, we could have it. And that was the first time anyone said that to me. Like, Nat, yes, your crazy dreams, you can have them. Like, yes, that fantasy, those dreams you have, yes, 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 yes. And so it fed my soul and my heart. I'm curious to know, how did you feel the more you kept listening to Bob in the early stages?
I just remember being overwhelmed with excitement and full of enthusiasm and just really seeing all these possibilities. Like, wow, like, okay, I can create what I want. Now the question is, what do I want? It's like, how far can I take this, right? But now I do want to, because you mentioned about partner, and you use this before you had ever watched The Secret in a very specific way of manifesting me. And so I'd love for you to actually share, because you wrote down on a piece of paper what you were looking for in a person, right?
Well, actually, I didn't write it.
Oh, you didn't write it.
No, but you know what I did? I imagined I had a pen and I imagined I had a paper and I wrote it on my imaginary paper.
Yeah.
Yes, but
So you had a
I
list.
guess I did write it in the spiritual world.
So you had a list, though, a
Yes,
checklist. And
absolutely.
can you just talk our listeners through that, because we had never met before?
No, and this was done, I don't know how long before I met you, but I just remember going, all right. Now, please don't judge my judgment, okay, at the time. But I remember thinking, yeah, it'd be nice to have someone who's Maltese. I've heard really nice things about Maltese people. They're clean and they've got connected to family. And so I was like, God, that would be amazing. And I thought, oh, straight teeth. Yeah, that'd be nice. I love straight teeth. And then what was another one? Oh, yeah. The big one was having a hairless body. Yeah. So I was allowing myself, those things where like, oh, come on, like seriously, it's a human being. No, no, no. I was allowing myself to ask for what I wanted. Right. And I was like, oh, it'd be so cool if we went to the football together. Because back then I was very much into going to the football with my dad. And I thought, oh, that would be amazing if we both went for the same team. And I just had these thoughts, right? And you know what was interesting? I remember thinking, no, not an electrician. I do not want to be an electrician. I've just seen all these guys being electricians. No, no, no. So they were all judgments, okay? So back in my 17, 18-year-old self. And the interesting thing is now in hindsight, I'm like, of course, I literally manifested everything I gave energy to and the straight T. In fact, going for the same football team, I remember sitting on the phone with you and I did not believe you. I said, no one goes for North Melbourne. Like, just no one does. And I was like, you look like someone who goes for Carlton. Like, no, like, they're always struggling. Anyway. And I did not believe you until you actually said you had a little woolen jumper. And I said, I have the same. Mine's signed. And then I saw yours and I saw mine, and they're seriously about the same size. And it just all these things blew me away. And then you told me you're an electrician, and I rolled my eyes. Oh, it was so funny. But it's amazing that we are creating every time. And in that example, it was intentional. Except the electrician bit. I didn't know what I was doing there, but I still gave it energy. And whatever we give an image to and add emotion to it, that's what we're asking for. So the universe just says, yes, yes, electrician, yes, straight teeth, yes, athletic body, right? All these things. And what we have to do is be the ones in control of the signal we send out.
That's so good. That's so good. And I love what you said, we're always manifesting. There's no time when we're actually not manifesting because we're always sending out these signals. We're always thinking, feeling, we're always acting. And so we're going to keep attracting into our life whatever's in harmony with us. And what I love about this, and like you said, when we watched The Secret, we became like consciously aware that we can consciously create something new.
Yeah.
That's completely new from anything we've ever done before. And that's what I love about this.
I just love that you said that. Completely new. And I'm here to share that this manifestation in our relationship is something completely new that I'd ever experienced or saw anyone close to me have in their life. So it was literally a creation from thin air, because it's easy to keep creating based on our environment, based on how we've grown up, because that's normal. But when we're creating something beyond, let's say even lack and struggle in finances, and you're creating financial abundance and prosperity, or let's say health, people in your environment and, the genetic line has always had health issues in some way. And you're determined to create living in a healthy body, beautiful, healthy body. You can do that. And this is what I go back to what Bob had said. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand.
Yeah. I was just thinking how I really put that to the test after meeting Bob in person. So we went and met Bob in person a couple of months. I think we watched The Secret in August 2014. By December 2014, we were in Toronto in his seminar, a 6-day long seminar with him.
Can you share? We used what he said on The Secret to manifest being in the room with him.
Yeah.
What were we doing? Do you remember what we were chanting?
We were chanting about being in Toronto with Bob Proctor.
Over and over.
And we got our 1-year-old son in on it. It was like a little jingle that we created, and we were singing it, and we was driving and recording it and singing it, and it was just like over and over and over again. And we had all these obstacles in the way for us to actually be there because we only had 1 week from the moment that we spoke with one of Bob's coaches about this event, and the event actually starting, there was less than 10 days. And so time didn't seem to be on our side. We didn't have the resources, and it was just like, okay, we got our son we got to think about. We're on the other side of the world. So there's all these obstacles that we had to overcome, and we just applied it, and we said, okay, we can just see ourselves being there. And I saw myself in the room with Bob, in person, shaking his hand, speaking with him, seeing him presenting, and so I really got into the spirit of being there in the room with him. Within 5 days, we had everything that we needed sorted. The money, we had paid the deposit. No, we paid it in full, actually.
By then we did, yeah.
Yeah, we paid the deposit when we first spoke with Bob's coach. And so we had it paid for in full. We had the flights booked and paid for, accommodation booked. We had a nanny organized. Like, there was just so much that we just accomplished in 5 days. And it just was all a result of putting into practice the very, very simple things. So simple, but each of those things requires faith.
That's such a good point.
It requires you to see beyond what's here physically. It requires you to trust in what you can see beyond what's here physically, and to hold on to that image regardless of what's going on. And yeah, like I said, we got there and we spent the week with him, and then we became coaches and consultants. We wanted to share this with our family and friends. Like, oh my God, like we're so enthused, and like our minds were so blown about what we had just experienced, even just getting to Toronto, but also everything that he was teaching, and there's so much more depth. And it was like, wow, like how is this possible that we haven't learnt about this in the past? And our family and friends know about this. And so we got really connected to sharing that with others. And so we became consultants. And I really put this to the test. I'm like, okay, let's see how we can work this. And I set myself a target of being a coach and a consultant full time within a 3-month period. And that means letting go of my electrical career, which I had been an electrician for 11 years, since I was 17 when I started my electrical career. And I had my own business as an electrician, and I was like, such a huge deal, considering I was like scared of public speaking, number one. So there was so many things to overcome, but I set the goal anyway. I'm like, all right, Bob talks about setting yourself a goal that's like way beyond anything you've ever done before. It should excite you and scare you at the same time. I'm like, all right, that excites me and it scares me at the same time, because I have no idea how that's possible that within 3 months I could be doing this full time with you.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but literally that's what happened. Within 3 months, it was like we were both doing it together full time. I still had my electrical business running on the side, had other people working for me, but I wasn't working in the business.
Isn't that amazing? In 3 months, you set that goal.
Yeah.
And it happened. And this is so powerful. And we teach our kids this all the time. We work with our clients in manifesting. And if you will hold that image and believe it to be true, it will be true for you. If you believe a lie enough times, you're going to believe it eventually. Tell yourself a lie, you'll believe it. And this is that amazing power that we have, where we are literally creating our reality, our experiences. And some people can find this really difficult to hear, that the relationships we have, the business we have, the career we have, the home we have, the friends we have, everything, even the body we have. It's literally an outward expression of what has been going on inside our mind, the images that we've been getting emotionally involved with. So every time we think of what we don't want and have emotion behind it, which a lot of us are programmed to focus on what we don't want. And plus, add emotion. The more emotional a person is, I know I'm way more emotional than Matt is. You just need a little bit of emotion from my end, and I'm already putting it into manifestation. So that's the thing. Whatever we don't want manifests. So whatever we fear gets manifested. And what we want to do is strengthen our mental faculties. We spoke about this in the retreat, how to deliberately create what you want, how you can create that life that you want. So there are times in life where we are actually manifesting what we don't want.
Yes.
And that's that emotion that we add. You see, the language of subconscious is emotional. And it's a good thing if you're an emotional person. I think it's actually an asset because it means you have the capacity to manifest quickly. But it's not cool if it's undisciplined. If you let yourself get angry or you focus on what you don't want, your imagination can really run havoc. So it's really important that we use our imagination to create images and get emotionally involved with things that we do want.
Mm.
And the fear and doubt's going to try and come in, okay? But this is where a disciplined mind is essential. And in fact, I want to read this. This is from Feeling is a Secret. It says here, the perfectly disciplined person is always in tune with the wish as an accomplished fact. So the goal or the thing that you want to achieve, they feel it like it's done. So for us to go to Toronto, we had to feel like we're already there meeting Bob. For me to manifest Matt, I had to already see and feel him next to me walking along a beach. I had to feel my best friend with me at a footy game. You see? So it says here, he knows that consciousness is the one and only reality, that ideas and feelings are facts of consciousness and are as real as objects in space. Therefore, they never entertain a feeling which does not contribute to their happiness, for feelings are the cause of the actions and circumstances of their life. So he's talking about the disciplined person. But on the other hand, here, the undisciplined person finds it difficult to believe that which is denied by their five senses and usually accepts or rejects solely on appearances. Because of this tendency to rely on the outside world or evidence of their senses, it is necessary to shut them out before we start to manifest, before we start to pray. And that's so, so important. We have to really, can you talk about that? How essential it is to, in a way, ignore your five senses. You have to create, we're going to go somewhere else.
I think that's a really important point, because I think even when someone is at the first step of, oh wow, like I can create what I want, they tend to look at what they've already created, like what's here in the physical world, and then they let that control their thinking, and it can be very limiting, right? And so the way I like to think of it is that, like, whatever is already manifested in our physical world is just a reflection. That's a mere reflection. And so it's telling us where our mind has been up until this point. And what's going on in your mind, that's the real. That's what's real. So you got real. So any ideal is the real. Okay, let's just put it that way. Ideal is real, and then manifestation is a reflection. And if we think of like a projector, if you change what's being projected, well, the image changes. Whatever's being projected changes. The reflection changes. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so what we have to do is we have to start going inward rather than trying to change the outside world. We just have to go to spirit, okay, or imagination, and create something new. Like if the listener just looks around the room that they're in or the environment that they're in, everything that they can see was created first in an imagination. It was first created in imagination. It could be if you're in a bus, that was created in imagination. If you're driving a car, that was first created in someone's imagination. If you're in your living room, that was first created in someone's imagination. The building and then designed. So you may have designed the way the furniture is all set up. That design was first created in your imagination. So everything that is in the physical world was first created in someone's imagination. And so it's just a reflection. And so what we have to do now is we have to create something new in there. Or not have to. We can create something new. We don't have to do anything. You can create something new. How would you like that living room to look? How would you like your house to look? How would you like your relationship to look? How would you like your bank account to look? How would you like your body to look? Well, start in your imagination. That's where those ideas and those images is the starting point to creating anything new.
I love that. Imagination's the starting point of creation. It's essentially what I hear you saying. And I just love that everything is created twice. First in imagination, and then it's manifested in the physical. And this is the trap a lot of people find themselves in, that they're looking at the physical results and then they're thinking about them. And therefore, that's the image in their mind. And the universe just keeps saying yes. So it's just going to keep giving more of the same.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people will repeat patterns, the same result as last year, the same relationship as the last one, the same job. You leave the job, you had toxic environment. Here's another one, right? Because the images haven't changed.
Yeah.
And this is where I want to get you liberated and excited that just because it is looking a certain way at this point, it doesn't mean it can't be 100-fold better, a bazillion times better. You get to create it.
Yeah.
That's the power that we have, our use of imagination.
Yeah. I love what Andrew Carnegie said. And he was one of the wealthiest men in the world in the early 1900s. He was very big in the steel industry. He said, any idea that's held in the mind, that's either feared or revered, will begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate form physically available.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's so powerful. So it doesn't matter if it's something that you love or something that you hate. If you hold it in your mind, so any idea that's held in the mind, it's either feared or revered. So by you focusing on what you love or what you don't love, okay, what you hate.
Or you're afraid of even.
That's right. Yeah. Any idea, doesn't matter what it is, will begin to move into form with and through you.
Mm.
It doesn't happen instantly. Now, it can. I believe that it can happen very fast. I don't know how because I don't have that ability right now. I don't have that awareness to do it. I have the ability, so I don't have the awareness of how. But it must move into physical form.
Yeah. I have an example of that actually. I remember speaking to someone on a coaching call and I made her aware that her thoughts become things and she was getting all these light bulbs, right? And she said, you know what? I use this to my demise in a way. She said, I always had a fear I'd lose one of my children. And she said, one of them passed away. She said, in fact, it wasn't the one I thought would, but I still felt it. And I said to her, well, now you can stop fearing that so you don't create that again. And she still had it in some way active in her vibration. And this is so powerful because in that moment, she just became aware of something, never to hold an image of that about her children. And I just think, even as a mum now, with kids, or where are they? Or they're a little bit late, or even the cat. Oh my goodness. Our cat, I remember once he didn't come home and I was like, that is not him. And my mind, this is where the wrestle comes in. It's going to these places that I don't want that result, but it's going there. I'm like, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it. And I remember having this real challenge, and Bob was still around at the time. And ultimately, this is what he taught me was prayer. Prayer is actually seeing and feeling your desire already manifested. This is a good point. If you ever want to pray for someone, it's not from the energy of begging for something. Actually see them healed, for example, or see them with what they want and feel that they have it. Feel the miraculous healing. How would you feel? And so he taught me about prayer. And he actually said, I remember him mentioning this. I'm just going to read it just to give the context. It says, prayer is the art of assuming the feeling of being and having that which you want. And I told him that the cat had run away and I was kind of freaking out. And he said, write it on a piece of paper, get a pen and paper and just write that he'd come home and, in the middle of the night and all good. So I did that. I started to write it and I closed my eyes and visualize and I could hear little scratches on the door, And I remember still wrestling. Didn't mean the old images weren't trying, right? But this is how we've got to discipline the mind. This is the power of having a disciplined mind. And once I let it go, I finally felt the ease. Okay, if we feel tense, we're not at ease. We know we've arrived at the feeling when there's this relaxation that happens, generally, or we're excited. But generally, it's that feeling of ease. And I remember I went to bed that night and literally I went up to get that dehydrator. We were dehydrated during the night. I had an alarm on for 2 a.m. And as I got up, I heard little scratches on the door. I was like, oh my goodness. And that was the cat still around. But I had to I knew the power of my mind at the time. and I know it now, but I had to really make sure that I was not going there to dark places. And that is so important because a lot of people may argue and go, no, I didn't create that. I didn't manifest that. We may not have, but you may have read a newspaper 5 years ago and you saw an image of something and that got impressed in the subconscious and now it's being expressed. And this is why, could you talk about maybe guarding our mind in creation and really taking charge of it?
Yeah, we have to. This is such a big point here. We have to understand that the subconscious mind can only accept ideas. It can only accept ideas. And I want you to really think about that. Like, I have a glass here on my desk, and there is water in there. But I could have put lemonade. I could have put Coke. I could have put coffee. I could have put soil. I could have put bark. I could put sand. I could put anything I want. That cup must accept that, regardless of what it is. Well, our subconscious mind works exactly the same way. Whatever you put into it, it must accept it. Now, that happens whether you consciously do it or unconsciously do it. We also have the conscious mind, and the conscious mind can accept or reject. And that's what makes the conscious mind so powerful, is that we can actually reject things coming in from the outside world, because there is always information coming at us, whether it's from other people, whether it's from the media or whatever it is. But there's something that you're reading. There's always information floating into our consciousness. And the key thing is, what we want to do is we want to keep thinking. So when the information comes in, we want to think. And we want to kick that information around before we choose to accept it. But if you notice that you are getting upset or angry, or you're emotionally affected by something that's happening outside of you, that has already gone into your subconscious. Because the subconscious is the emotional mind. It's already in there. And whatever we accept on a subconscious level starts literally expressing itself through the body. It changes the frequency that we're vibrating at. And that controls our behavior, which then produces results. And so when you say guarding the mind, it's remembering that we have the ability to reject anything that comes in from the outside world. Imagine like just this imaginary helmet on your head that's guarding, like it's protecting you. And you get to choose what you accept or what you reject. And if something does not serve you, you can just reject it. And you can internally just say, cancel, or reject, or I don't accept that, whatever it is. But it's just emotionally protecting yourself from that. Whether it's someone saying something to you, something happening, it doesn't matter. You have that ability. That is a freedom that you have. You don't have to go around accepting anything unless you're a newborn baby. And their mind is like the glass. It's open, and it'll just accept anything that's going in from the outside world. It has no ability to reject because the conscious mind has not been developed. And this is why children, they learn so quickly. They pick things up so quickly. We say they're like sponges, right? And they only have to hear the swear word once and they're repeating it in full context, okay? And that's why. Okay, because their subconscious right open. So what we want to do is just keep thinking. And you choose consciously if you accept or reject a piece of information. If it's going to serve you and help you move towards a greater life, something that you would love, and you can accept it. Another thing you can actually do is, even if you don't know whether to accept or reject something, maybe it's a new piece of information. Imagine like there's a little file in your mind and it's a box and it's labeled possibility, right? You might just imagine yourself putting that idea in that box of possibilities, and you can come back to it. You might just kick around other bits of information and come back to that box of possibilities one day and like, I remember that. Actually, now I can see how that works, and now I can accept it. Right?
I love that.
And so it's like this little filter. Imagine a little filter in your mind, and it's just deciding what gets in and what doesn't.
So true. Like I was just thinking, even with my health and my body, and a lot of people can say, oh, but well, you have 3 children. Like I never accepted an idea that my body would change after 3 children. Like what does it mean if you have children? Is it the assumption that you gain weight? Oh, that's a belief. Does that serve you? No. Do you want it to be true? No. I never accepted that one. So I guarded my mind. Now, there's ones that I have that don't serve me that I'm changing, but there's also ones that I have. Even in our marriage, and working with you. And a lot of people are like, oh, how do you work with your partner? I'd go crazy. Well, I believe working with my husband is fun and we're most in harmony. So it's a good thing. So everything we believe is true for us. That's the thing. So let me ask you this. What ideas and beliefs do you have listening to this that you have believed to be true that, you don't want it to be true? So what ideas do you have that you've accepted to be true that you don't want to be true anymore? Whether that's earning money is hard, or
Mm.
raising kids is tough, or, every year I get older, gray hairs means you're old. Like, whatever it is, there's so much stuff and they're just ideas. And guess what? You don't have to accept them and you can create new ones. Oh, actually, I like the idea that money comes to me with ease and joy and I get paid overnight. Or I love the idea that, I get healthier and fitter and stronger every year. I love the idea that my marriage gets better and better every year. We fall more in love every anniversary. You can look back. So what if you change these ideas you've accepted to be true?
Can I say, I just want to chime in here because you talked about when you work together. How can you work together and as a husband and wife? Like, I believe that the more we do together, the closer we get.
That's such a
And
great belief.
yeah, I
Mm.
honestly believe that. And so I don't think you can do too much together.
I love that. And because I manifested you being my best friend, going to footy, and now we work together.
Yeah.
Like, I always wanted my partner to do everything with me. I saw that. I asked for that. That was what I manifested. And so my question now, I love that you shared that, because this is true. As we poke holes at these beliefs and change them, our reality changes, right?
Yeah.
So let's go to the 4 steps of manifestation.
4
Right?
simple steps. There's
Simple.
many things you can do.
There
These are
are.
four-
We actually have a whole coaching program on how to deliberately create quantum leaps and manifest.
Mm.
But let's keep it simple right now.
Yes.
Number 1, the first thing we've got to do is know what we want to manifest, right? Step number 1, if anything was possible for me, what would I love? Okay. Notice I didn't say, look at the results you have, and then let's take a baby step, and then let's get a little bit better. No, I didn't say that. I said, if anything was truly possible for you, what would you love? What would you love to create? Pick one thing right now, because there might be lots of things you want. That's good. You can always do that. But let's just to move through the steps a little bit easier, right? So picking one thing. Step number 2, right? Step number 2 is all about, what now do I need to feel? Who do I need to be this person? So you're ultimately getting in the vibration of, well, now how would I feel as this person that has received that or has achieved that or has got that now? And you start to notice the gap in your vibration about how you would feel. So, for example, let's say it is 10xing your business right now. If anything was possible, I'd love to 10x it. All right. Well, now, how would you feel as this person? Think of that number or the amount of clients or how you see your company evolving. How do you feel? Okay. See, it's a specific frequency we've got to get to. There are infinite frequencies, but we must calibrate ourselves to the frequency of that desire achieved, right? That's the thing we've got to get to and not keep bouncing off it. Okay. Easier said than done. Easier said than done when there's programming in the way, right? But we've got to go there. Did you want to go through step number 3 and 4?
Well, number 3 is essentially you see yourself as that person. You see yourself with that outcome as an already accomplished fact. This is a key thing. It's not something that you're working towards. It's who you are right now. And you see it in your mind. And then step 4 is you be that person. You be that person to the greatest degree that you possibly can right now. Because I understand that there'll be limitations on a physical plane. But on a spiritual plane, there's no limitations there for you. In imagination, there's no limitations there for you. And so you want to think and feel like that person, like Nat was just saying, Okay, think and feel like that person. You can match that exactly. And then you physically be that person to the greatest degree that you possibly can right now. And as you do that, greater ways will start opening up to you. Just unfold naturally. Okay, because you're going to grow. You're going to grow in awareness. There's things that you'll develop, there's people that you'll meet, whatever it is. But understand, we're always going to be attracting into our life whatever's in harmony with us. And that's through our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions. There's cause and effect. For every single action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. The world responds differently. So as you align yourself with the outcome that you want, thinking, feeling, and having, thinking, feeling, and being, okay, well, everyone and the whole world responds precisely to that. That's the effect. And that's what creates new conditions, circumstances, a new environment, ultimately creates new results.
I love
So
that.
you don't think from your results, you think from the outcome of your goal or the desire already accomplished. And then you be that person.
Yes. And this is, I want to add one point here is that we're not forcing ourselves to act like that person without the vibrational alignment. That's completely in vain. I've seen that. I've done that so many times as well. Otherwise, the universe is responding to your vibration, not what you're doing. So, what we want to do is understand that we've got to calibrate. And you'll know when you've calibrated because you're going to feel the goal achieved. You're going to feel yourself already having what you want. You're going to feel the changes in your body. Your body is literally going to tell you the shift. You feel that ease, that wholeness, the abundance, whatever it is, the love, right? And in this state, you receive some inspired ideas. And as you go to act, you're acting, but with this aligned vibration, and you attract what's in harmony with that vibration. And you may even take the same action that you have in the past, but now you're calibrated correctly and you're going to attract a different outcome. So manifestation is truly an art. I see it as an art. I see it as this beautiful art of creation. And the more we develop and discipline our faculties, we have 6 mental faculties. That's an episode for another time. But the main one we're talking about here is imagination. And we can use our will, our focus to hold that image on the screen of our mind and feed it with emotion. Feel it to be done now. It is done. And feel grateful that we've already received it. And then the 5 senses are going to tell you haven't got it. And you're going to have to let that go. And you focus on the feeling of the wish fulfilled until that becomes the dominant state. The dominant feeling is the one invariably that expresses itself. That's what Neville says. So if you want to know what right now you're emotionally involved with, it's being expressed in your world. The outside is a mirror. So there's some great things in your life you love. Amazing. Some things you'd love to improve. Create it. Create it. And so I want to leave everyone with something practical to do. I love to apply the doing and the being, but even just spending 5 minutes of journaling from the goal, thanking the higher power. I like to thank God. Thank you, God. I feel so grateful now that, I love my life, and just journaling from, and then just closing my eyes and feeling it and seeing it for a few minutes. Really allowing myself to be so emotionally involved in this state, and doing it often is what's going to help plant it in the subconscious, right? That's the magic. And some things are easier to manifest. Some things are a little bit trickier. Might be easier to manifest a coffee than it is a lover. Or it just all depends on how many opposing ideas are in the way to let it in. Right?
And that really depends on belief too.
Yeah, that's right.
That's another topic for another episode.
Very much. We could do a podcast that goes for 24 hours and we would not run out of anything to say.
No.
There is so much we have in our artillery. Alrighty. I've loved it. I love this topic. Oh my gosh, so much. So much so I even created a manifestation journal. That's how much I love manifesting. Alrighty, everyone. Thank you for listening to this episode. And we hope that you can take something away where you can reflect, create, and apply it in your day. Kick out those thoughts that are not in harmony with this image that you want, and really work it. Give yourself a 30-day challenge and just see what happens in what it is you want to manifest. And if you don't believe at this stage, start small. Start with a butterfly. Start with a red Ferrari. I don't know. Just start with something. And pick a yellow Ferrari. Like, go out there. Then as your faith goes up, you can start to go, okay, then let's play. Let's play. But keep it light and playful. And that, I think, is a beautiful way to let it in so much easier. Alrighty. Thank you, Matt. I really appreciate everything today.
Been a pleasure. Been lots of fun.
Lots of fun. All right. Till next time, everyone. This is Nat, over and out. We hope today's episode inspired you on your journey towards creating greater success and richness in your life. If you would love to receive extra valuable content, be sure to subscribe at our mailing at mattandnatmindset.com. That's mattandnatmindset.com. And receive life-changing emails as well as stay up to date on our upcoming events, both in person and online. If you found this episode valuable in any way, it would really help us on our mission to help more individuals and families heal, grow, and prosper. Spread the love by sharing this with a friend over on social media or text. We welcome you to leave us a comment or review and let us know what you've learnt from us so far. Head over to our social media channel at Matt and Nat Mindset. We just love hearing feedback from you, and it inspires us to keep creating life-transforming content for so many. So thank you for listening and supporting our channel. Have a blessed day, and remember to treat others from a place of love. This is where the magic of life is lived. Until next time, this is Nat.